Alright class, this assignment's going to be on analogous colors, the usage of analogous colors in painting. Like always, we're going to be painting in layers. So it's going to take multiple coats. You're going to work one area, then work another area, come back when it dries, add more paint to it so that we can get nice vivid color, we can get intensity of color. A lot of processes are not just one color and done. It's the layering of color to create intensity. Just like in drawing class, intro, I've always said to layer the colors, whether using colored pencils, watercolor, and now even paint. So analogous colors are really easy. It's colors that are closely related to each other in the color wheel. So we're going to choose your colors by looking at whatever it is, and you're going to paint according to those colors. So like yellow, yellow-green, green, those are analogous colors. Just adding a little bit of yellow to green, you're going to get a yellow-green that is a tertiary color. So the main focus on this assignment is doing a still life with painting with the application and usage of analogous colors. Have I said analogous enough? I don't think I have. I think I need to say it one more time, analogous. So enjoy the video. I'll give instruction. All right, bud. Let's get to work. So you can see I got a sketchbook out, and this sketchbook is able to paint on. This paper is very nice, it's very thick, and you can have canvas paper or this paper. You can buy this book at Walmart, it's wonderful. Anyway, taping it down, of course, so because the paper will warp, we wanted to keep it as flat as possible while we're working on it, so always in a circular pattern. There we go. I'm going to make carbon paper by rubbing my pencil on the back. And then transferring it off. So you can see I've repeated this assignment many times doing different techniques. So I'm rubbing my pencil on the back, I'm putting the lead down there, I'm going to flip it over, I'm going to smooth down the tape, and then I'm going to trace. You can make this harder or simple as you want. Just go for the general outline. That's what we need for this current assignment. If we need any more, I will let you know. And I'm just getting the shapes of everything. I'm checking every so often. I'll flip the paper up, and then I'll fill in the holes. Boom. Now that we got the image transferred off, we are now going to the painting process. This is a palette, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be using a palette, and there's a lid that can go on top of it that keeps the paint nice and fresh. Let's not throw those away. Those are a little expensive. I'd like to keep them as long as possible. Now you'll notice that what I'm using is a palette knife. It's odd that I'm using a palette knife with a palette, but that's what happens, okay? Also notice how much paint I got in there. I do not have an abundance of paint. This paint I've used before. As often, if I tell you get it out of the bucket, you're going to need to make sure that you dissipate it by adding some water or adding another paint to it as well, because you don't want the straight hue from the paint bucket. A lot of artists do this already. You want to kind of create your own color and not straight out of the jar, the bucket, or wherever you come from. This is an orange. We do not have orange in stock, so I've already made this orange prior, added the water prior, and that's why you see me kind of going to town here already. Notice I added some water just right now so I can get a lighter hue, a lighter tone, so I can tint the paper, and I can adjust using the water my color intensity so that I can get my shadows, my midtones, and the highlights that I want. This is a red pepper, and I'm using orange. Why am I using orange? Because it's that magical name called Analogous Colors. We're using Analogous Colors to paint this time around. So red goes into orange. That makes Analogous Colors. So we got red, red, orange, orange. And that's why we are painting orange for this pepper right here. And we're going to go over it with red, and we're going to use multiple layers, okay? You can see that the color is a little on the light side for this orange. It's not too intense. So where I want it darker, I'm going to let it dry and go over again. Also notice that some of my brush strokes are long when I want to fill in spaces. So I'm pushing my brush down, letting all my bristles kind of fan out, and then I move my hand back and I can get nice sharp edges and fill in the space. but when I want to dissipate some of the paint, to have it blend, to have that good gradation, you'll notice that I use little bitty strokes. There'll be some little bitty strokes like right there, so I can dissipate, so I can go from a darker to a lighter tone and have it do a nice gradation of color and not be overly abrupt. You're blending some of the paint out so that it goes from a dark to a light. A lot like the pressure of the pencil, of the colored pencil, when we've taken drawing class or intro to art. I'll tell you how much pressure means more pigmentation. Less pressure means less pigmentation. You could always go more, it's hard to go less. So go light first and then go dark. Here, a little bit of the opposite. You're gonna lay the paint down, so you're gonna go dark first, and then you're gonna dissipate it to lighten it up. So you can see that I'm going over some of the same areas again after the paint has dried. Remember, this is sped up. I don't really move this fast. I don't think I've ever moved that fast in my life. So as we're painting, you're going to see that I'm already getting the shadows, the midtones, and the highlights with the orange. That's going to help just accentuate the red when we put the red over top in the next video. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking probably, Roate, looks good enough already, let's just call it done. No. There's about painting layers to get a vivid color. Okay, we're not painting houses, we're not painting a room where you paint just a primer and the color, or you just paint 2 coats or 1 coat and call it done. You want a flat color for. This, we want differentiation of color. We want darks, midtones, and highlights. So it's going to take multiple layers, more paint in certain areas than others, to establish that darker tone to that mid-tone to that highlight. And we want a nice transition to it. We want to make it look as realistic as we possibly can. Are we going to probably make it realistic? No, not even my peppers look overly realistic. It doesn't look like a photograph. But it's the attempt thereof. I am looking for the journey. No one's ever good at doing something the first time unless, like, I don't know, it's dunking with a little kid's basketball hoop set that's only like 2 feet off the ground. Other than that, we're dunking cookies. Everyone's a pro at dunking cookies. I don't think they have competitions in that because everyone's really good at it. So I got the orange one here. I'm using yellow. And you can see here, I'm just getting some paint on the tip of my brush too. I'm not dumping my brush. I'm not scrubbing with the brush. That ruins the brush. That makes Mr. Roate upset, so don't do that. I'm just laying down my first initial coat. Yellow is a little hard to see. There are some differences in the paint application, but I know most of it looks on screen right here. It's all one base coat. Now, there is some darker variations to it. I'm going to hit it with another coat of a different kind of yellow, and then we're going to paint the orange on top of it. You're going to see that in the next video. But for right now, enjoy. I hope I've given you enough information and understanding.